Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, everyone? What's going on, Chip? What's going on the chain family? Tell you what's going on. Big news. You probably haven't heard it yet because it's big news breaking about 8 hours ago. So you probably have heard this, but Trump just issued a major crypto power play. Now, there's been some commentary online that we'll talk about here in a little bit. XRP, Solana, ADA, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe some others will be added to the U.S. Strategic Reserve. Now, the big question is that everybody is wanting to know, are there big, massive gains ahead? Massive. We saw XRP blow up about 30%. We saw Bitcoin go up about 10%. What was obvious was that the entire crypto market was green across the board, all the way down, all whatever 1,100, whatever the number is, green as far as the eye can see. Is that going to continue tomorrow? We'll find out tomorrow.
We will, or today during the show. It's 287.
Today during the show.
XRP right now, but let's do this. We got a lot to talk about. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Oh. Yeah. What's up, everybody? Drop where you're coming in. Welcome to On the Chain. Crypto Whelp in Turkey now. Was in a hurry to leave the last show, got on the plane in time, and they didn't take off because of a minor technical malfunction. Been stuck in the airport for 14 hours. What a drag that is. Colin Hughes, the first one to type in Yeti. We have one entry so far. Remember to type in Yeti. You forgot to mention about the most decentralized blockchain, Cardano. Yeah, Cardano's a big winner for sure. Absolutely. Cardano is in there. Caroline, what's going on? Good evening, gents. Yeah, good evening. Good morning, I should say. We will see you in approximately about, I don't know, a few weeks' time when we will be, I'm guessing you will be at the Gold Coast. I'm guessing. Legendary Yo OTC, he chimes in there. Hi, all from the UK. The Purple Ferret's in here. We got Peter, the Cabbage Eater, coming in from Toronto. Congratulations. Big win last week. Best Canadian hockey player. The hockey players from Canada, the best in the world. You guys showed it and deserve it. Got Peter from Down Under. Jim D's checking in with the big old Yeti there. Ray Ron, Adrian. Beautiful. Chad. Well, Chad, we'll see you guys next. Well, let me see you next weekend, Chad. So that's going to be pretty exciting to see you, meet you in person. We're going to be at the Quantum Summit in Cape Canaveral. Jeff and I will be there Friday night, Saturday, all day Saturday and all day Sunday. We got a couple panel events. We will be interviewing, Jeff and I will be interviewing Arizona Senator Mark Fincham. Mark Fincham is legendary. What an amazing dude this is. I've been a fanboy for a long time. Be such a great to meet him in person, and not only that, but interview on stage. So pretty excited about that. You guys can still get tickets for this thing. Everybody living in Florida, you guys can get tickets. The other cool thing is you can live stream it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the website here. It's Quantum Summit 1776. I just dropped the link in there, but you guys can go ahead and the live stream is going to be some information about that soon. Like if you can't make the event, you can go ahead and live stream it. But again, it's going to be pretty eclectic. It's going to be stuff you're not going to see anywhere else. Let's put it that way. If we can. So Jeff and I are pretty excited about it. Yeah, right here, the Quantum Summit, Expanding Horizons, March 8th and 9th. That's next Saturday and Sunday at Radisson Resort at the Port of Cape Canaveral, Florida. Jeff and I are going to be hanging out, which will be good. We haven't seen each other in a little bit, even though we live pretty close together. But we're just been pretty busy, so that'd be good to like hang in person because most of the time we're like you, we're just hanging here on video. So that's how it works. But guys, you can get tickets. There's a last minute ticket sale. It's going on for 2 more days. And then you guys can come and check it out. Come see us, but it'll be a great time if you guys want. Any more information, ping us. But pretty excited about that. Next up, too, I wanted to talk about, Jeff, there are some other exciting news, too, is we will be in Australia at the Gold Coast going back. Really excited about that. And I've got the speakers. So let me put some speakers up here. I will throw for the The wave of innovation. Speakers were just announced a little bit earlier tonight. I was able to see that. And let me see if I can find the speakers. Hang on, I got to go through my. Here we go. Here we go. And let me put it up. Here we go. Wave of innovation. Maybe second to the fourth. Speakers. Jazzy Cooper from Ripple X. We've got Scott Chamberlain back again from Evernote. Got Eduardo Zardetta, IPO Club, Stephen Rodwell, Dean of Education, Higher Education Institute. We got Sean Lloyd from the XTC Network. Looking forward to meeting Sean in person. Naveen Gupta, Crypto Intelligence, CEO and thought leader, former Ripple. Santiago Velez will be there, Blockchain Digital Corporation. Hugo Filion from Flare Networks will be there as well. So it's going to be quite the party, guys. We're super excited about that. That's the wave of innovation. Gold Coast coming up May 2nd and 3rd. Jazzy Cooper. It's going to be great to meet Jazzy as well. So yeah, May 2nd and 4th. There you go.
That's right.
So that's another exciting thing. We've got 2 exciting things coming up, man. And it is something to get there too, Jeff. It took us, we lost a day driving there. We didn't drive there, but we flew there.
Driving all the way there.
We're driving. It's crazy. We drove a speedboat across the ocean. It was crazy. It took us 6 days. Took shifts. I'm just kidding. That never happened.
6 days swimming.
It felt like 16 hours feels like 2 8-hour work days. It's a long time.
Right.
6 hours from Miami. Then we had a 9-hour layover at LAX. Then it
was brutal.
We got off in Sydney. We had was it 2 hours to the Gold Coast? Maybe it was an hour and a half, 2 hours. I think it was 2 hours. It
was like an hour and a half. Yeah, it wasn't that
an hour and a half. It
wasn't that bad
compared to all the other flights we had taken. It was actually cool because you're flying along the ocean, which was nice.
Right. Exactly.
It was very scenic. It was very cool. And I'm telling you, Jeff, this time, I don't care what happens. I'm seeing a kangaroo. I didn't see a kangaroo last time. Jeff, can you do this with your thumb?
No, I cannot.
Everyone in my family can do this. It's not a lot. I don't know what the deal is, but yeah, I could do the whole. So yeah, we'll in a wallaby. I just see that. What's the cuckoo? What's the cuckoo? What's the bird called? The cuckoo. I don't know. How do you call it? What do you say? Kind of bird that is?
I don't even know.
I did see that bird. That was about it. I heard it. I don't know if I actually saw it, but I did hear it.
Yeah, I think we did see some of those. Yeah.
But no koala bears and no kangaroos, dude. It's very strange.
No,
they're all hiding.
Kangaroos. Where'd they all go?
I don't know. They always see like these videos, and they're always like in people's houses, and they're like on golf courses, but not when we're there. No. Apparently we have
Kookaburra.
Kookaburra. The kookaburra. That's what it's called. The kookaburra.
You go filing, man. I'm so excited to see the people that are going to be at the Gold Coast. You know, that list of speakers at the Gold Coast, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. What a lineup!
I don't know who's going to. Man, Trump mentioned XRP first, and then BTC Maxis were not liking it.
They were.
Yeah, that was man. There was something on X today.
They were freaking.
One of my buddies said, "Hey, I was gone most of the day. Anything exciting happened?" I said, "Nope,
nothing.
Nothing. Not a damn thing happened.
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Nothing happened.
That's it. Sir John's in the house. What's going on? Will Charles is here. Put a shrimp on the Barbie, gents. Absolutely. JB got to be there before the 7th. Yeah, it's going to be something. A buddy of mine called me up today, and he goes, "I was ready to pull the trigger. Was it 240? I look, and it's like 285." I'm like, what's going on? I was like, well, dude, you snooze, you lose. That's how it works. But super exciting. I mean, yeah, it was everywhere today. I mean, you had to be living under a rock to see it.
Yep.
I remember I was trying to get a hold of Jeff today. I'm like, dude, have you seen this? We got to talk about this. But here it is right here. Breaking news from President Trump. XRP to be included in the strategic crypto strategic reserve. So much winning. It's really hard to keep up. This was on posted on Truth Social. A U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed at the presidential working group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, ADA, and I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again. And there's the post. what happened was people started blowing up my thing. They're like, is this real? So I pop over to True Social. I'm like, yeah, it's real. And so if you wanted to see the Bitcoin maxis like completely lose it, it was epic. They're like, I thought he was going to be the first crypto president. This guy's BS. This is stupid. I can't believe this. Worst thing I've ever seen happen. This is the dumbest thing ever. I'm like, these are grown men and women acting like this. I mean, please, like, so, and then it wasn't too much longer later. And he goes, he put this out. He goes, and obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, as the other valuable cryptocurrencies, will be the heart of the reserve. I also love Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I think his phone probably blew up, and because of all the maxis and people were flipping out.
Yes.
I did see Don Jr. Repost this one with 3 hearts, with 3 flames. So maybe Don Jr. is like, hey, Dad, you need to pump my bags. Got a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum, so let's go. So yeah, that was the big news today. Massive news today. Super exciting. David Sachs had this to say, Jeff.
All right. See what David Sachs.
David Sachs is the crypto and AI czar. He said President Trump announced the crypto strategic reserve consisting of Bitcoin and other top cryptos. This is very consistent with his 1-week executive order 14178. President Trump's keeping his promise to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. More come to the summit. And I think Justin was talking about that. It's going to be, I think, March 7th. Yeah. So I think Justin was mentioning it in the comments there. But that's coming up on there. So this is just super exciting news, man. And of course, XRP Crow put this up there. My executive order digital assets. Nice little graphic that he threw up. This is Status, who makes those awesome posters. If you've ever seen those posters that have all the people from the XRP community and streamers, I know we're on there as well. So he makes those posters are really cool. What else? What else do we have here? I'll tell you what else we have. Brad Garlinghouse checked in. He goes, as I've said before, the crypto industry will achieve our goals and beyond if we work together. Appreciate the crypto president, real Donald Trump's vision of a government digital asset reserve representative of the industry. Jeff, this is key right here. Vision right there. If we break this down here, vision of a government digital asset that's representative of the industry. What do you think he's referring to there?
Representative of the industry. This is, man, we're really starting to kick. So I was really thinking about this, right? I was looking at some of the expos that were going around, people hyper focused on the lawsuit with Ripple. They just don't get it, right? There's so much more than that. Brad Garlinghouse knows exactly the direction things are moving in. We're not waiting around for the SEC case against Ripple, and Jeremy Hogan broke it down real succinctly. We actually have some details on that, but I'm really glad. And as you focus in on exactly what Brad Garlinghouse is paying attention to, as he has from day one, Ripple and Garlinghouse, where he was kind of put out right as the lead, right? They were thrown out there as defenders of the entire crypto space, right? He fought hard. They fought well. They fought a long multi-year battle against the SEC under the previous administration that was trying to dismantle crypto. Things are changing right now. So really, really amazing. We saw MAGA Brad come out, throughout the election cycle. Right now, the crypto industry has to achieve goals well beyond what the anticipation was. Look at how he puts that in bold. So it goes more than what you highlighted, but if we work together, right? We're not talking about maximalism. We're not talking about the XRP maxi fanboys thinking that we win, everybody else sucks. No, because Betamax, VHS, CD, Laserdisc, I don't know. We still don't know who's going to come out ahead, but we're not talking about this kind of a battle right now, right? We're trying to save the industry. We're trying to grow the industry. We're trying to build up on the industry. At the end of the day, Microsoft and Apple are still in existence, and they're maximalists on either side, but it's more than that. We're not talking about, can one company survive over another company? We're talking about an entire industry. And so that industry had to coalesce and come together. Brad Garlinghouse was the spearhead. with this lawsuit. Again, if we can work together, we have to come together and figure out how do we advance this. This is a brand new, financial asset class that is now galvanizing itself into mainstream adoption. And again, if we were saying hyper focused only on the Ripple case, womp womp, there'd still be nothing. There'd be maybe a little bump, in the industry. We saw how it impacted the industry, how it impacted XRP price point. But what we're looking at right now, and the reason why I bring this up, but we'll dig into it a little bit later, but appreciate the crypto president, right? Because he has a vision. President Trump has a vision to bring the United States into a golden age era of financial benefit, of make America great again. He also wants to see that the crypto made in the US, that we're going to have a major impact in this space. So this vision of a government digital asset reserve is it's so key. I can't say enough about this, Chip. Maximalism is the enemy of the industry's progress. I don't know why people can't understand that is the case, right? So I hope that these XRP maximalists and Bitcoin maximalists and Ethereum maximalists, I hope they get off their ass and they read. If they were to not read anything else, don't learn anything else in your life, read this tweet X post from Brad Garlinghouse, because he has everything packaged up in it that is critical for where we're going as an industry and where we're going as a country. We don't have time, for the maximalist behavior. You want to be maximalist, you're going to be in the circular file, because we don't have time for it. We're moving on. We're developing the industry, and you're going to be steamrolled. That's my opinion.
I'm in the circular file, Jeff. I say directly
in the circular file,
right to the circular file. He's says, I'm glad to see the president of the United States recognizing that we have a multi-chain world. Absolutely. I mean, this whole idea there's only one, it's just the silliest thing ever. I mean, it's just, even I can't imagine, it's one thing when you're kids, and, you're talking, you're like, yeah, this is better than that. And you have these little arguments, you fight about stuff, stupid things, Jeff, like iOS versus Android, those stupid things, we never do any of that here. But, these goofy little fights you have, but these are grown people, grown ass people. And they're sitting there just calling Trump out. And then all of a sudden, an hour or two later, he remembers to put up, oh yeah, well, also Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then they kind of cooled off a little bit. But what he's saying here is we got to move past Bill Hinman and the Biden administration's SEC's very broken thinking. Now, what I like about this is the very first time we have seen critical or criticism of the last administration. Now, we've heard about Bill Hinman before, but he says Bill Hinman and the Biden administration's SEC, assigning basically some blame there, very broken thinking. I will certainly continue to champion this while in Washington at the end of this week. And Justin was the one saying that there too. So he's going to be Friday on the 7th is going to be the White House event. And it's the first one, but you're going to have a lot of leaders there that are going to make a difference. And this is what it's about, bringing together people from everywhere. A rising tide floats all boats. We're not going to you want to pick winners and losers? Yeah, it's like a football team. Yeah, I like the Bills. I like the Eagles. I like the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, that's great. But at some point, you're fighting to be number one. The crypto's not like that. The stock market's not like that. I always say, oh, so is NVIDIA the only stock to buy, or are you an IBM fan? Are you are you a Palantir fan? You realize how dumb it sounds at that point. This nails it right here, the purple ferret. Trump administration rescued the crypto industry globally, but it's not just that. What I think people are failing to get, this whole thing that blew up with Ukraine, this in Russia. Yeah, Russia invaded. There's a war going on. 1.5 million lives have been lost. To put that in some perspective, in the U.S., the Vietnam War lasted almost 20 years, 19 years and a few months. 58,000 U.S. soldiers died in that conflict. We're talking about a 3-year war, upwards of 1.5 million dead. And they're kidnapping people on the streets and throwing them on the front lines. It's not a sustainable thing. And the one person who's fighting to end this all is none other than Donald Trump. also wants to get rid of the IRS. If that happens, expect all this stuff to spread around the world. You're going to see all of this spread. If the Federal Reserve goes away, which I think it's a good possibility, then all central banks are in trouble. So it's going to be like a domino effect. Sure, it starts here, but everybody else is going to rise up. You're going to get new leadership. I know in Australia, I've heard a lot of complaints about what's going on there, and I was with Keir Starmer, of course, in the in the UK there, and so you had Trudeau, you had Starmer, and you had Macron all coming together saying how they're going to support this war. Now, Jeff, the part that worries me the most is they're going to support the war. What war? I mean, like, does anybody think, all the gaslighting by the media, that Ukraine is going to beat Russia? It's not happening, people. I'm sorry. Just more people are going to die on both sides. And Russia at least is stepping up to the table. And you can call Russia this and Putin that and addicted. Name call all you want. It's not going to end the war. What ends the war is getting two parties to the table and doing it. And what drives me insane is that Israel brokered a deal 3 months after the conflict started. You had over 1 million people that never had to die. They put a deal on the table. And who were the Western leaders that denied it? Principally, it was Boris Johnson, who was the prime minister at the time. It was Macron, and it was Biden. You know why? Because they encouraged Ukraine to fight. And what happened? Massive bloodshed. It doesn't make sense to have this kind of conflicts. And what happened now? Wasn't the left that was always for peace, Jeff? Why is the left all of a sudden engaged in war? I mean, weren't they the ones with the peace flags and the hippies and they were always
It's interesting, the dynamic of how things have shifted. But I believe down deep, the left has always had, this aggressive, thought process behind it. They always got, relatively enraged. Think maybe during the 60s, you still saw, there was a bit of aggressive behavior. What was it? The Weather Underground blowing stuff up to try to get their points across. There were things like that going on. Protesting can be, relatively violent, so I think that somewhere, along the line, along the path, as they kind of develop, and they just started getting angrier and angrier and angrier, to a point where, the lines start blurring, to where what we see now. But I'm not 100% convinced that they weren't always in the war camp, for a long time. It just depends which war. Depends if it's their war, maybe they'll like it. I don't know.
Mark said 4 years is not enough time for Trump to repair all the destruction. I don't know. If you made this statement on January 20th, I would have been, you know what, Mark, you're pretty much spot on. But given where we are 5-6 weeks later, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of possibility. Why? Because he's not doing it by himself. There's a lot of assistance, hired the right kind of people, moving full steam ahead. I think, especially breaking down the government. But again, for it all to happen, you got one shot. Maybe JD Vance right around the corner. Well, Charles says, so true. Yeah, absolutely. Charles Gasparino tweaked some people today because, Charlie Gasparino loves to tweak people about XRP. Of course, he wrote this. Now, if you remember, I think it was last week, we put up a post on X that he said, see, it's the bear market. Where the bull market's over, the bear market's in effect. And I'm like, no, man, it's cyclical. Come on. You don't know anything. So he puts this one up. I love this XRP strategic reserve story. Trump will have to tell his SEC to drop the Ripple case and allow a lower disclosure standard for retail, or face losing a ton of money on a much lower XRP prices and the strategic reserve if they keep the case. Can't wait to keep covering this, and there is nothing anyone can do to stop me. Sad. Ha. So now he's back on the XRP case. And of course, he was getting beat up. Loser on the rampage. Local idiot with a weird fake name has a Twitter account. Sad. Ha. Now, you got to love a guy who's on Fox News and Fox Business, I should say, and just goes to battle. But he baits everybody. You're probably ripe for retirement. You no longer think straight. Eleanor is better than you. Learn and read more when you retire. Nah, I'm sticking around for a long time to make your life miserable at the end. Of course, edit Ellie's stories. At the end course, I edit her story, you pathetic moron. Ha 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 ha. You want to bet? You're not going to last long because it doesn't make economic sense for a Fox to continue to keep you. You're not an investigative journalist because you spew unverifiable trash at most times. A black a black ship, low budget journalist. He says, dude, my expense account buys and sells you 100 times over, and I have a lucrative long-term contract. I'm published in various newspapers. I get paid to write speeches, appear on TV and documentaries, not to mention top radio shows and podcasts. You live with your mommy and hide behind a dumb fake name, you pathetic and insignificant dope. I mean, a lot of people don't like Charlie. I get a kick out of him, but I will say this. Charlie used to be a little bit more of like a never Trumper, but he's come around a long way. And he wrote that book on wokeness, and he's in there all the way. And I gotta tell you, I find myself agreeing with him like 90% of the time when he puts out posts. I repost a lot of what he does, but this is just purely to tweak the XRP community, Jeff. Come on. You know, Meta Lawman, this is interesting, Jeff. I want to get your thought on this. He says, I have a theory about the SEC's unexplained delay in dismissing the Ripple case. It might not actually be the SEC. It could be that Ripple is negotiating hard to get the SEC to agree to vacate some or all of Judge Torres's decision. The Torres decision was unquestionably great for XRP holders, but the A, finding of securities laws violation, and B, injunction with attendant bad boy provisions are not so great for Ripple. And this is particularly true if Ripple is considering a future exempt securities offering or an IPO. So I believe the SEC would have accepted a settlement where both sides dismiss their appeals and the SEC takes the $125 million penalty in a heartbeat. So it makes sense to me, at least, that Ripple could be negotiating for a better deal than that. This is all pure speculation on my part. It could be wrong, and it wouldn't be the first time. What do you think about this theory, Jeff?
So, I was reading through that. If you open up Jeremy Hogan, I think, commented the best on why there's a delay. It's right at the top of the keep. If you want to pull up Jeremy Hogan, he breaks it down very, very succinctly in terms of why it's got to, it's going to be delayed further, why it has to follow a specific course of action. He kind of digs into the nuance of that from a legality perspective in terms of where he thinks it can potentially go in order, even if the SEC right now wanted to unwind it and they wanted to find a path. Should be number one in the keep.
It's not.
I put it there.
Nope.
Jeremy Hogan right at the top.
I'm right at the top. Trump.
Maybe you got to close it and refresh it.
Did it?
It's right there. Hang on.
XRP, Garlinghouse.
Let me see. Oh, up. It looks like you got pushed down.
Where is it? Because I haven't searched for Hogan.
Oh, maybe it's gone altogether. What happened to it?
I don't see it.
I put it in there when you were adding stuff to the list.
Maybe we were both doing it at the same time. And
shoot, it got removed. Let me see if I still have it. Hang on.
I can probably.
I don't know if I still have it in my thing.
I can always pull
it
it
it's here. I just added it.
Wait, you did?
It was still in my. I just pasted it in there.
You lied about it. Where? I see it now. Okay, cool. Yeah, I see
There
it.
you go. Check that.
There it is.
Check
okay.
that.
All right, so let's go. Let's put Jeremy's take on this. He says the delay in settling Ripple's case, as pointed out by James below, is likely the injunction in Judge Torres's judgment. The court enjoined Ripple from basically making sales directly to customers. There are workarounds for that, but obviously Ripple would rather not have the injunction at all. So, assuming that the SEC is willing to work on this with them, the issue is this. Once a court issues an injunction, the parties themselves can't simply agree between them to disregard the injunction. Trust me, many men have gotten in legal trouble by thinking this since they got back with their girlfriend, that they just ignored the restraining order, a type of injunction against being within 200 feet of her. So how do you dissolve an injunction? It's not simple, which is why I think the case doesn't resolve until April, May, whereas all of these other cases have already been dismissed. Then he says continued. The federal rules have Rule 60, which talks about getting a relief from a judgment, and that's where you start. And as you can see from the rule, it's not easy. Basically, you can't come back and ask the court to judge or to change a judgment unless something has changed. Obviously, the argument to the court would be that the SEC is in the process of reworking crypto rules, and it believes the injunction would be moot once it reworks things. The problem with this argument is that the court based its decision on the Howey test, not the SEC rule changes, and the SEC cannot trump the U.S. Supreme Court. Get it? Trump. They cannot trump the U.S. Supreme Court law. So is it possible? So that's interesting. The short answer is yes, but it has to be done very carefully. First, you have to read a couple of cases on point. You'll see the judge's discretion peppered throughout. Basically, it's up to the judge. And of course, don't forget the unusual and powerful fact that the parties, I assume, would be coming to the court together, asking the court to dissolve the injunction. Look, when the girlfriend is there and she says she loves him again, she's pregnant and they're getting married, that's a powerful reason to dissolve the injunction. And to add to that, there's no one to even appeal the judge's decision if she doesn't do it correctly. That's also powerful. So Ripple only has one shot at getting the injunction dissolved with the trial court, so that it will have to draft a very carefully worded motion. That takes time, and the SEC will basically have to sign off, more complication. And once that's agreed to, both parties stipe to dismiss their appeals, and then Ripple files its motion with the trial court, and then the judge has to rule on the motion, which can also take some time. And that's how I see it playing out. And that's why I think May is the month, although I could see the appeals being dismissed in April prior to Ripple's brief due date. Have a great week. It's a very good, well thought. This is where you have a really good attorney, two attorneys thinking about it.
That's right.
And somebody that probably has a lot of experience with it.
That's it. That's how I'm looking through. And you're like, hey, comment. Like, Jeremy, comment.
Jeremy already commented on it.
Let me ask the attorney in the room.
Well, part of it too is, well, the thing was, I mean, my thought when I read it was, yeah, there's already a judgment, right? So it's not like you can't have, they already made the judgment. So, what he's saying here, it's not as simple as you file a case, like everyone's like, well, Ripple was one of the first. Why are all these other cases being dismissed? They never got past filing the case. This went to Judge Torres. A judgment was made. The fine, you remember the original fine that the SEC wanted was $2 billion, right? And then they went to a court of appeals. The court of appeals said, look, 125 million seems to be about fair, which cut it down drastically, like, 95% of what they were supposed to pay. So that's kind of interesting.
It is very, very interesting. So, man, I'm telling you, things are heating up. Thank God, for President Trump. Every day is winning. We've been winning now for 40 days straight. It's something new, something better. It's just like every day is something great. We still got to dissect, still have to understand. It still amazes me, though. I look onto X and I see some of the discourse and conversation, and people still don't get it. They don't see the direction that we're moving in, right? They still don't understand how we're moving there, why we're moving there, plus what it's going to take to move there as an overall industry. I'm so glad we have some of the best and the brightest in the chat with us. I love reading the commentary. I love seeing, people's feedback, some of the questions, just overall, discourse. There's stuff that goes on in the chat. I'm just really, really happy, to see, some of that, some of the conversation that's going through here.
But it's always fun to read.
Yep. But then as I look around and I start trying to consider, well, he is an attorney, so I would hope they'd have some.
Yes, I don't think it's a bad boy
from a legality perspective.
No, I don't think he's asking, does he have a bad boy past we don't know about? That's funny. No, I think it's more about him trying to paint an analogy that even though there's a restraining order, the restraining order doesn't go away just because a couple thought like, oh, they fell in love, she's pregnant, and oh yeah, no, the restraining order is still in place until it gets dismissed. So I think he's just trying to hopefully, who knows? He may have a bad boy past. I don't know if he does or not, but
yeah.
But winning, winner, chicken dinner.
And there's here from Nick. What are your guys' thoughts on Uphold tweets lately? With tomorrow, US will be rewarded. Man, Uphold is the one exchange that stayed on the right side of this thing from the beginning.
Yeah,
right?
they did.
Back when they filed, the SEC filed this whole thing. Uphold was the one that said, "Hey, we're hanging in there until there's some sort of a court ruling, and until there's some sort of act passed by Congress and signed off and ratified into law." Uphold is staying the course, and they stayed the course for a while. Well, it'll be interesting to see what comes down the pipeline, but there's so many things stacked up right now. We've got an XRP ETF around the corner. So now if Trump's talking about putting XRP into the strategic reserve, how much further away should we be on a potential ETF being solidified? Where are we, moving in terms of positioning, for this basket of goods? And it is a true basket of goods. as they start looking at the strategic reserve. And then Chip and I were talking about earlier, you brought up, what if when they go and audit the gold holdings and all of a sudden there's a massive gold holding, or now all of a sudden they're going to allow restriction on price movement to go up the way it's meant to go up. We also have to look at this from a perspective of Trump's end goal, right? His end goal is to create this golden age, to remove the barriers all around us, the restrictive nature of government that's suppressing the earning right, of the population here in this country, that has been restrictive and really suppressed by certain government agencies in order to pick winners from losers. Chip, you brought that up before. We're moving in this direction, but imagine now with a crypto reserve, where's the limit in terms of price point potential? What happens, when our strategic reserve is measured in trillions? I mean, where do they want this to go? Are they going to hold crypto asset and gold just so it takes up space on a spreadsheet and doesn't really, bolster our bottom line? Or are they looking for the nuance in order to bolster our bottom line and set us apart from every other country in the world? And also delete the deficit, right? No more budget deficit, no more trade deficit, putting us on a holding, a really strong holding. There's so many things that have to happen, Chip, from an audit of the Federal Reserve to potential ending of the IRS and taxation. But this is all factors into the equation, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, and this is what Nick was talking about. It looks like this is pretty fast. Okay, this is the other thing. Upholds on this, right? So they already have a new basket of U.S. crypto reserve. The latest basket includes XRP, Solana, Cardano, obviously Bitcoin and ETH. But if you ask, no, it wasn't our 3.3 news, but here it is right there. There's the basket you can get into, and there it is right there. Pretty badass. That was fast. They probably already speculated on what they might be, and they just probably put them in there. But still, to roll this out that fast and that quick. So what they're saying is you got to have the updated version to be able to see it on your app itself. So cool, Nick. We appreciate that. Moving right along here, I wanted to get in Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff is an interesting creature. He's a Mr. Gold.
Commercial break?
Huh? No, not the
commercial break. 30-second commercial break.
Bio break?
Yeah, hang on one second.
Bio break?
Yeah, 30-second. Here we go. Oh, wait.
What's the word of the day? Boom, boom. Get your champagne wallet ready, cause this one's gonna be epic. Stay tuned to claim your own legendary Blue Drop Yeti. Now stack 4-5 to bend your pick of a man spirit walkers. Let's go!
That's the Yeti. There it is right there, guys. You got to type in Yeti. That's the one you win.
Something up at the end. I don't know what.
So you win. You got to have the Zombie wallet ready. You got to say, I'm here. You're grabbing my wallet address. That's what it is right here. Peter Schiff, Mr. Gold, said, I get the rationale for a Bitcoin reserve. I don't agree with it, but I get it. We have a gold reserve. Bitcoin is a digital gold, which is better than analog gold. So let's create a Bitcoin reserve too. What's the rationale for an XRP reserve? Why the hell would we need that? And that was a bad question to ask, dude, because he's never... The XRP community has really never unloaded on him before, but Charles Hoskinson, awesome dude, comes in and says, because XRP is great technology, a global standard, survived for a decade through many harsh cycles, has one of the strongest communities, and I think the president made the right decision. Whoa, who's defending this? Charles Hoskinson, man. He comes in with the defense. Pretty amazing. David Joel Cat Schwartz says, after reading Charles's thing, am I dreaming? He's like, Charles goes, no, I appreciate your work after spending time with the code and a protocol for the glacier drop. And then David Schwartz says, thanks. And I really appreciate the work you're doing on new tech with a focus on privacy. I know how hard it is to work in an area that regulators aren't really comfortable with yet. And then Litecoin said, get a room. Litecoin, Jeff, get a room. That's funny. Of all chains, Litecoin had to come in and say, get a room at Litecoin. That's pretty good. But I thought that was pretty funny. This guy made an interesting statement. Connor said that Cardano, XRP, and Solana are each traded on American exchanges at a higher percentage of volume compared to offshore exchanges. And American firms custody a higher percentage of these assets than any of the other top 20 outside of Doge. Trump's move disproportionately benefits the USA, like it or not. Well, that's the whole reason. That's the whole idea, right? But I think this is a pretty interesting sort of a take that it benefits the U.S. Let's see. Yeah, so this is an idea. JP Richardson's, he said, this is incredible news for Exodus and our business. Terrible news for the U.S. Americans deserve a strategic reserve with Bitcoin only. We saw a lot of this on X today. Crypto Ninja said, I don't understand why you'd post such a one-sided view when you're the CEO of a crypto wallet. I love Exodus Wallet, but these types of posts just don't come across as supportive of the industry, especially when other assets have already been named for the strategic reserve. Richardson says, I love Bitcoin, Solana, and many other networks that innovate. That's not the issue. The issue is the American taxpayer should not have to foot the bill for altcoins. Does that make any sense? I haven't figured it out yet. He said, I'm barely comfortable with taxpayers doing this for Bitcoin, but given Bitcoin's the best digital store of value, I understand the strategic importance of a nation state owning Bitcoin. And then I chimed in and said, okay, well, let's look at the potential upside. The U.S. purchases Bitcoin at $100,000 and it goes 10x up to $1 million. Meanwhile, XRP is bought at $3 and it goes 60x. Which is the better investment? Which has the better upshot? 10x going to $1 million, which is pretty decent, or XRP doing 20, 30, 40, 50, 60x. I think it's pretty easy to figure out which one that might be. Nick Carter, who has pretty much always been known as a Bitcoin maxi, I got to say he's pretty fair. He's a big supporter of Trump, big freedom dude. And I think this surprised a lot of people. He said it today, it feels like a good day to post my anti-SBR article. I stand by, especially in the light of inclusion of ETH, Solana, ADA, and XRP. But he wrote back in December 20th, and he said, I don't support a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and neither should you, which kind of surprised a lot of people because a lot of people sort of think of Nick Carter as like a Bitcoin maxi. He's been around the Bitcoin community forever. He said has begun to animate Bitcoiners. Trump advocated for holding a stockpile of seized Bitcoins, but certain proposals have gone further. Let me explain. Are we talking about a stockpile or a sovereign wealth fund? Anyway, he goes on to talk about this, and it's a long read. We're not going to get through the whole thing, but he basically makes some really good points about why it should not be Bitcoin only for all the reasons, some of the reasons you might even think.
And for a lot of the reasons that you and I have been talking about. You need to have a basket of currencies. Can't just have one. If you're putting it to reserve, you have precious metals. It's not even in the strategic reserve. We don't just have gold. Think about all the different metals. You might have oil, and now we're gonna have a basket of cryptocurrency. So there's nothing.
You guys like my logic?
With that.
Do you like my logic?
A plus chip equals logic.
It's chip logic. Come on, it's gonna happen. It's easily gonna do more past 10x. Bitcoin going to $1 million, lofty. XRP going to 50, 100, 120, 150. Yeah, it's still doable. Justin Trudeau, who's still
is he still around? I thought he left. When's he leaving?
I haven't noticed.
Is he gone yet?
He's still the Prime Minister of Canada. He said, I'm in London this morning working with President Zelensky, Prime Minister,
what's up?
And European leaders to bring about a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. One that guarantees you. So he's talking about peace. Meanwhile, nobody else was talking about that. David Sachs says, great, you can handle it. We're out. Good luck. Best to you.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, this is what should have been happening. They should have stepped up a while ago. But, instead, what are they, just nothing. Just get a bunch of nothing. So that's the other thing that Trump's been able to do. He puts it out there. All of a sudden, all these other guys are getting off their hands. They've been sitting on their hands. I honestly, it amazes me every single day, how just winning, nonstop winning. And
too much winning.
Global is the European Union, NATO, the UN, just a bunch of global elitists.
Cross them all off the list. If the U.S. pulls out of NATO, NATO collapses. If the U.S. pulls out of the, I mean, think
When
about it. Anyone who's
not
useless organization.
nothing. Yeah.
Schellenberger, Michael Schellenberger said, great. He's been on point too. Zelensky says he wants peace, but then he really dismissed the Trump administration's diplomacy as pointless. That angered Trump and J.D. Vance, and now Zelensky's fled the White House. This should be a wake-up call that global elites in Europe desperately need. He went on to say the behavior of Zelensky, a typical of Europe as a whole, entitled, in denial of reality, narcissistic, unconcerned with our need to deal with many massive internal problems. Such juvenile and entitled behavior makes us less, not more, desirous of helping Ukraine and Europe. Now, Brian Armstrong chimed in on this whole thing, which, Jeff, this opinion shocked me. He says, excited to learn more. He's talking about David Sachs.
Who doesn't know who Brian Armstrong is? Does everybody know who he is?
Is the CEO of, Jeff?
Of
You know the
starts with a
exchange?
C. You know that thing. You know the thing. Starts with a C and ends with an E.
Coinbase. Yeah. So he says, I'm excited to learn more. This is the best part. He's still forming an opinion on asset allocations, but his current thinking is just Bitcoin would probably be the best option. A guy that runs one of the largest, if not the biggest regulated, SEC regulated crypto exchange in the US is formulating an opinion that he already formatted that says only Bitcoin would be the best option. Simplest and clear as a story's successor to gold, which makes no sense because we don't even have a gold-backed currency. And what about the USD, which is losing value every single day? If folks wanted more variety, you could do a market cap weighted index of crypto assets to keep it unbiased. Market cap is completely meaningless in crypto. It's a fun way to look back and try to balance it with the stock market. I don't think when they do talk about market cap stuff, it's meaningless. I mean, it's one thing if you're investing in a company, you're talking about market cap, and he goes, but probably option one is the easiest. So not only is it the easiest, but only Bitcoin would be the best because it's simple, it's clear, and it's a successor to gold. If you want to check yourself a little bit and you are the CEO of one of the largest exchanges, this is a very bad take. I don't care if you personally think this. You say, hey, this is great news. It's great for the industry at large. That's it. That's all you have to put out. But him going, it should be just Bitcoin. It's easiest. It's simple. It's clear. It's a successor to gold. Is just dumb in my opinion. But
I don't see how you see that Bitcoin is a successor to gold. That means it's going to replace gold.
No, that's because they call it digital gold. It's dumb.
It's a digital gold. It's not a successor to gold. It might be a store of value like gold. It might be a store of value like silver or any of the other, precious metals, platinum. So, but they just claimed it to be digital gold. It's a store of value. I mean, why I'm a little bit confused as to why Brian Armstrong would post something like that. He maybe wasn't really thinking it through.
There you go.
I don't know, but Jeff D said that Coinbase CEO is a libtard, and he's fighting his own comrades. But it was kind of funny because I was looking at some of these other comments. Speaking of winning, I'm getting tired of winning.
I'm almost getting tired. Yeah,
like every single day. It's just so sometimes
the best chart I've seen that is like not really much of a chart.
Yep.
But if you look at 2020, 21, all the way up to 2028, you can see that these red dots have already occurred because we've already passed 24. So if you F around, you find out. That's what that means. F around and find out. We're currently at the find out part.
We're definitely at the
finding out. We're right here in 2025. This is the greatest thing ever. And then Elon Musk said, yes.
That's exactly where we are.
Yes. Look at this one here. When I see someone post, I stand with Ukraine. I stand with Ukraine. Be honest. I'm being honest. Okay, I don't care about Ukraine. I just hate Trump. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Spot on. Then you got this.
Look at that. That's interesting too.
As a wartime leader, I'm sure great Winston Churchill will be proud of Zelensky. So someone did an AI shot of Churchill hugging Zelensky. And Duke of Marlborough chimed in and said, I don't think so, Lord Ashcroft. Winston was my great uncle. and I knew him well, and he'd be appalled at the constant hijacking of the Churchill name to justify such insanity and the needless loss of life. Whoa, that escalated pretty quick. Lord Ashcroft's all about, hey, look at how great this is. Duke of Marlborough's like, hey, you don't understand. He was my great uncle. I knew him.
Yeah.
Man. So, you post stuff on there, you F around, you got to find out.
All right. So, Chip, this is what I'm talking about. I'm looking at commentary. So, iReal Media, wrong. Gold needs to be tested in the fire for fraud because it's not always pure. So, you have to test it for impurities, hence fake gold. So, if you think about Bitcoin, can you fake Bitcoin? It's on the ledger. Great store of value from that perspective. But from a gold perspective, once you test it, it's real. But then if it's sitting there, what are the chances someone swapped it out with fake gold? So that's kind of an interesting, perspective from a money, and then Jim D's talking about gold and silver, the only real money, so it's really kind of an interesting dynamic, the direction that we're moving in. And force here is another good point. You can make jewelry with gold. You can do so much with gold. Gold is very dynamic. It has been for many, many years, and it's hard to get it. So you got to dig for it. I can't hear you. You're muted. You have muted yourself.
Zelensky, I was clearing my throat. Zelensky showed up at showed up in sweatpants at the White House. He called Vice President J.D. Vance a bitch, Suka, under his breath. He rudely spoke over President Trump, and then he made an explicit threat against America. Cutting aid to Ukraine is only the beginning. He should be severely punished. And that was DC Drano that was saying that right there, which is interesting. But we were talking about winning.
Look at this one. Reborn John. Is Bitcoin really, though, with a 51% attack? Look at this. Man, good commentary. This is why you got to workshop stuff like this. There's all sorts of sides to the equation. Everything isn't, there's not a perfect straight path every single time. Interesting.
Here's speaking of, who said they was getting tired of winning?
Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, I saw that already. I posted that. Dave Portnoy, I love. He's just an interesting dude. I enjoy. I love his pizza reviews. I feel like I wish I could the pizza. They're fantastic.
I was just introduced to his dog's video. He has a channel just for his dog that he rescued.
Yeah, that he's had that dog a little over a year now.
Yeah,
what's he called? Cool. Name for the dog? What's it called? Puddles or I don't know, some
Peaches.
goofy name.
Peaches.
Peaches.
I think it's Peaches.
It's Peaches. He calls it dog
something
Peaches.
like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's what it is.
So here's Trump talking about winning.
So proud of your president, and I don't care about that. But you are going to be so proud of your country because we're going to turn it around and we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more.
We got to keep winning, Jeff.
Got to keep winning.
And sometimes, some days get to be a lot of winning. You're like, there's just too much winning. Every once in a while you see something on the internet, and I'm not sure if it's AI. Something looks off about it.
You're not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now.
Oh, my God.
They got Uno cards. That's the best. He's like, and look at the size of Trump's card versus like
oh my God, that's so funny.
Cards. You're not in a good position. You don't
have the cards right now.
You don't have the cards right now.
Of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now.
God.
There's so much weird stuff that you see on the internet, man. It's just the greatest. It really is the greatest thing. You don't have the cards right now. What are you going to do? I saw this one. I don't know. I have a feeling this might be AI. I'm not 100% sure, though. You ready for this?
What you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. And what you're doing is very disrespectful.
No, for the people listening to this, it's a little baby Zelensky with those things in his mouth. And
disrespectful to the country, this country.
That's too much.
Hey, Chip, what do you think about DNI. What is going
Digital
on?
nomad
Tyler?
investor. What's going on?
According to latest AI research, Bitcoin will be subject to threat by quantum computers
I think it'll be
in
sooner than that.
15 to 20 years.
With the
Fine.
advancement in quantum computers that they've already made, there's already some research going on right now. I don't think it's going to be 15 to 20 years. I think it's going to be way sooner than that. 8 to
It's
10,
scary.
maybe
I
sooner.
think we're all going to be replaced.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what we'll have. That's what we'll have to
why
make
we need
basic
massive
income
money.
work. UBI will have to work because nobody will be able to work anymore. It'll be the computers will run everything.
Yep.
You know,
Elon
everything's
Musk
gonna be run.
talked about that. He said not because he's a proponent of it, because it's just going to happen. He said it's gonna be an interesting dynamic as we move forward. But the amount of wealth that this country, it's going to be kind of like a Dubai, or an Emirates or a Qatar over here. There's just going to be so much money generated in this country, and if they shrink this whole corruptive behavior within the government, and they stop just taking tax dollars or just cut out the internal tax dollars. There's nothing wrong with external tax dollars. You want to find revenue externally. You want to find revenue through crypto asset, but stop taking money out of people's pockets and let them spend the money. Let's have this economy flourish, put more money in the hands of the people while still maintaining. The other thing is, they keep showing things like over in China or in Saudi Arabia, they're building that straight. I forget what that one city is called, just a straight line in the desert, in the middle of the desert. And it's got like mirrors or something on either side. I don't know. They're building this thing.
Where's it? China?
In Saudi Arabia,
Okay.
the amount of money they have. And over in China, they're spending times, just all sorts of money and stuff just on innovating things around people. Not always good quality things, because a lot of the things break and people probably get killed while they're, using these things. But, there is some innovation going on there. Most of it's reverse engineered innovation.
Yeah.
But
check this out. Trump wants Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum.
oh my God. There we go. There we go. I love it.
Thought that was a pretty good one. Jeff, you know how people always, I always have people from other countries constantly arguing U.S. politics with me?
Yes.
Which
Schwartz.
already called the new quantum hack hardened crypto library. Yes, correct.
Yep. He knows.
He knows it's coming, dude. It's the qubits are close. I don't know. I was reading something last week about it. It's pretty insane.
That's it.
Ondo. No thoughts on Ondo, yeah, but I think Ondo is going to be fantastic. But look at this right here. This guy, when people come in from out somewhere else, this is what he asks you if you're.
Yeah.
We'll talk about our politics.
Your political system's so broken.
Before we continue, if you could please point on the map to where you live.
That's just a map of the United States. I don't live there.
Ah, you're close. This is a map of places you could live for me to potentially start giving a shit about your political opinion. And you'll notice, whatever continent you're from, not on here.
California isn't on there either.
I am aware.
That's fantastic. It really is fantastic.
Oh my God, that's one of the best. Where'd you find this one?
Live.
I haven't seen
That's
this one.
just a map of the United
I
States.
didn't see this one in the
You're
list.
close. This is a map of places you could live for me to potentially start giving a shit about your political opinion. And you'll
California.
notice, whatever continent you're from, not on here.
California isn't on there either.
I am aware.
He's aware, man.
Aware. I love it.
I thought this guy was
love it.
really good too, talking about Trump and Zelensky.
It's over. And it's over because Trump doesn't want to carry a loser. That's it. It's not some great morality. He doesn't want to carry a loser. This is a loser. The one that will be saved by the negotiations taking place right now is Ukraine. Second is Europe. Your stock market's rising in recent days by the horrible news of negotiations. The main issue for Russia was the United States, because Russia, as a major power and the largest nuclear power in the world, was profoundly concerned about U.S. unipolarity from the beginning. Now that this is seemingly possibly ending, Europe has to open negotiations directly with Russia as well, because the United States will quickly lose interest, and you're going to be living with Russia for the next thousands of years.
Totally nailed it, man. He totally nailed it.
Smart.
Here's some other commentary.
We have good geopolitical people.
Oh, we have great
out there right now. Yeah.
Here's another
Not
take.
Before.
You people don't get it. You people seriously don't get it. All of you who are mad at President Trump for yesterday and with about, look how he treated Vladimir Zelensky. You are the people who watched MSNBC, CNN, and didn't vote for President Trump. Now, myself, a black Trump supporter, this is exactly what I voted for.
Exactly.
Oh, Lord, this is what I voted for. To see somebody tell that pot-bellied dictator, Vladimir Zelensky, you ain't getting no more money. You don't run the United States. We're the United States of America. Without us, you don't make it. This is what we have been demanding. So you go on and talk about some MSNBC and CNN viewers. They didn't vote for him. They voted to put him in jail. People like myself, people who watch Fox, people who watch Joe Rogan, Hodge Twins, podcasts, we voted for this. That's why you see us happy and the people who voted against Donald Trump mad.
Mad. CNN. I love the way it says CNN. That was some good. That was some good stuff right there.
That's awesome.
There's so much good stuff
Remember
going
what
on.
it's about, Chip. We the people.
It's about we the people, man. It's a government crafted for us. I mean, you just gotta like call it where it's supposed to be. And then this is one last one I wanted to play because I love this too.
Look at that. Ukraine parliament lead already called for an impeachment of Little Z.
They talked about that because even like the ambassador to Ukraine, when that was going on, she just was doing this the whole time, like, oh no, knew that it was being blown. And then the whole thing with the sniffles and stuff, just a bad look, man. Don't take coke and go to the White House. Check this out.
Absolutely hate Donald Trump. Right. I thought he was a racist, a socialist, and he shouldn't be in office, and he was a crook. Right. However, he is the best president I have ever seen. He is one of the best politicians I have ever seen. He has shown up all the our politicians over here. He has shown how to lead. He has shown things that can actually be done.
What is it you particularly admire, the policies he's brought in, David?
The immigration policy, the putting America first policy, the threat of cutting back aid to other countries and putting things first with America. Basically, everything that he's done.
A lot of people, although they'll struggle to say it, it is difficult to see, the ones you've just outlined anyway, what's not to like.
I'm starting to see a lot of this everywhere. It's very different from Trump 1.0.
Trump 2.0 is just all business. Knows exactly what needs to be done. Already had a game plan. Realized the corrupt behavior in politics. Now it's just slash and burn. Get to where we got to get to. Do what we got to do. It's all about saving this country. It's all about putting this country first. Countries, just like Brad Garlinghouse had to be the tip of the spear for the crypto industry, Trump is the tip of the spear for all freedom. But on that tip, there's a few other people on the tip. We've got Elon Musk. Now we got JD Vance, and we got others that are going to. Marco Rubio's right up there. Obviously RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. There's a lot of people, Chip, that have taken a lot of hits to be on that tip of the spear.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Are just leading the charge. But countries all over the world are taking note. We're done. We're done with the nonsense. And hopefully we start seeing a collapse of the elitist mentality around the world.
Here's another one. I'm amazed at how different this this term is versus the last term.
I understand that people have their own personal view of Trump and may not like him, and I mean I don't see him as all the things that you called him. I actually think there are millions in Europe that are absolutely delighted and relieved that he won the election, and as a strong leader can highlight all the failings of our weak liberal global order that has completely failed its citizens, failed to make Europe safe, failed European economies. We're shrinking. We're in terminal decline at the moment, and we need to take a leaf out of Trump's book, who is boosting growth with lower taxes, smaller state, deporting illegal immigrants, deporting criminals, all the things any normal state should be doing, but our countries are not. So people are welcoming his arrival. I think his presence here in London will give people hope that our country can have a similar change, fingers crossed. And I think it is money well worth spent. The amount of money that is wasted by our government on ridiculous DEI projects, woke projects, you've got carbon capture projects that don't work, costing billions. The billions that Keir wants to send off to Chagos Islands for the surrender of our territory, 9 billion is suggested. All this money should be spent on improving British lives, British economy and our interests. And I think that's what Trump's visit will do.
Right. Man, it's so interesting. I mean, not to say that, the size of the country really will dictate, where we need sovereignty, but it always amazes me that you look at the size of, let's say, the UK or France. They both have about 68 million people. Canada's about 40, and Texas 31 million. Florida 23, 24 million people. We've got between Texas and Florida, we're almost the same population of the entire country of the UK. We exceed the population of Canada. It amazes me, what goes on over there, what we're able to accomplish in a state. If we start looking and stacking up our overall GDP for the state of Florida or Texas.
23 million people live in Florida. 22 million live in New York. 23 million. So New York pays twice the amount of taxes. Okay. And they get, what do they get for it? They got nothing. They don't even have a raging economy. They've got nothing. The taxes, and meanwhile, their tax cuts. Now you've got Governor DeSantis talking about eliminating property tax. Dude, if that happens, game on, because that's going to spread across the United States. Like when you're paying $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 a year, now you got to pay something. There's got to be something worked out so you can take care of basic services. But the same way as you have a Department of Government efficiency, you got to have local government efficiencies. They just put people on, employees on, and stuff on, and blah, blah, blah. It just gets to be ridiculous after a while. But here's a guy who goes out in the street because Keir Starmer today announced that there's going to be boots on the ground, that he is going to, send troops over there. They have roughly about 150,000 in their total, their services. And he starts asking some questions.
Live in the UK?
Yeah, we do.
Would you join the military?
No. We're not from this country.
If they say it's compulsory, what would you do?
I'll just go back to my country. Yeah, I'll just go back to my country.
First of all, I'm not a UK citizen. I'm an immigrant.
I'm Welsh.
No, unfortunately not. I'm not from this country originally.
Where are you from?
Brazil.
Do you live here?
Yes.
Would you go to war for this country?
No.
I'm Pakistani, so...
Are you a resident?
I'm a resident. I've got dual nationality.
Nobody's interested. Nobody's interested in joining up.
No.
And why should they? Because why would you? What are businesses that have? Whether you're an immigrant, somebody who a citizen, who cares? Like, why would you go fight for Ukraine? Just and when there's an effort to end the chaos over there. 1.5 million dead's not enough. And how do you think Keir Starmer would be regarded if 500 body bags came back with dead, British soldiers? How do you think that's going to go over? Sons, fathers. It's not going to go over well.
But the stupidity of it, they're itching. They're itching to get into a global war. They want a global war. The reason why they want a global war is the same reason they all passed this whole narrative of a pandemic. Even though there are ways to stop it, they wanted to prolong it. They wanted to shut down the country. Why? Because Trump was in office. Trump was doing great things back then. He would have won a second term. He would have accomplished great things from 2020 on. They had to stop the momentum that he was building then. They have to start something. They can't allow, the global elitists can't allow what we see happening right now, because this is their power. Their power hold, their economic hold, they're losing all of it right now, and it's going to happen at an exponential rate, and so the powers that be are fighting out there. And it just amazes me to see this move. Why would the UK send forces to the Ukraine? Why in the world would you send forces to go fight Russia? What sense does that make? Go and sit down, just like Rubio was talking about, and you're going to put that up right now, just like what Trump is talking about. It's all about negotiating for a peaceful outcome of this, right? There's got to be a negotiated outcome. They've been fighting for almost 4 years. It amazes me that they want to keep pushing this narrative, and yet, people have to wake up to it.
England shuts down the slightest sign of snow. Trump's visit is more than needed. This is a good one. Mark says, yeah, but Trump canceled the Social Security payments and his 259-year-old neighbor is pissed. That's funny. If you guys don't know, there were a lot of people over 200 years old that were getting Social Security payments. So even some that were older than the country itself, which is 259, we're going to come up on 250 in 26. So, I mean, my gosh, we're 249 years old. Amazing to see that. One more video before we get out of here, Jeff. But
one more video, and then we got it.
This is Rubio schooling. This is Rubio school. Well, let's do the drawing first, and then we'll.
Well, before the drawing, here we go. Hang on.
What's the word of the day? Get your champagne wallet ready, cause this one's gonna be epic. Stay tuned to claim your own legendary blue drop YETI. Not stack 4-5 bender figure of man spirit walkers. Let's go!
There we go.
Who's
winning this one?
Guys, I'm getting ready. Here we go. We got 23 in. Here we go. Ready? YETI, the Jedi. Here we go. And go.
I need sound effects here. I'm glad you can make the sound effects. Oh, Reborn John.
Reborn John wins right there. YETI. Reborn. There you go, Reborn. Big winner today.
Oh, man. Perfect.
Big winner. Reborn in. I think he was one of the first ones in today, too. He was one of the first ones.
I think so.
It's very cool, dude. We know you're here. Just say I'm here. And
give us your Zaman wallet.
Give us your Zaman wallet, and we will award
this bad boy over to you.
While we're doing that, I'm going to go and throw this video up. So let me remove
look at that. That was fast. Here and the all-in-one. That's sweet.
Dude, that might be the fastest time ever. We had a fast time, but this is the fastest
that
time.
was
a 20-second delay, and that took them like 3 seconds. So
that's right.
Congratulations, Reborn. Beautiful. That Yeti's going to a beautiful home, man. That's Maybe one day it'll even get rid of the replace your what is that? That's a it's kind of a bird there. Is that a what that is there? Reborn. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeti. A little bit late, XRP dude. Here we go. Let's watch Rubio school Snuffleupagus.
Tell you. All right. So do you know what the United Nations resolution was? I'll tell you if you want to hear what it was. It basically said this has been a horrible war. It's time for it to end. The job of the UN is to bring about peace in the world. I thought that's what the UN was created to do, to stop wars and to prevent them. And that's what the resolution did. Was it antagonistic towards the Russians? No. Back to the point. But it also didn't praise the Russians. All it said is, this is a bad war. It needs to end. And by the way, at the Security Council, which has not been widely reported, the first resolution on Ukraine that has passed the Security Council in 3 years passed this week because of the leadership of President Trump. And it's a resolution that says, bad war needs to end. Let's bring the two sides together. That's what the resolution is. Again, what is the United Nations for? Isn't it not a forum to promote peace in the world? And shouldn't our president, shouldn't we all be happy that we have a president who's trying to stop wars and prevent them instead of start them? And I just don't get it. I really don't, other than the fact that it's Donald J. Trump. If this was a Democrat that was doing this, everyone would be saying, well, he's on his way to the Nobel Peace Prize. This is absurd. We are trying to end a war. You cannot end a war unless both sides come to the table, starting with the Russians. And that is the point the president has made. And we have to do whatever we can to try to bring them to the table to see if it's even possible. I'm not promising you it's possible. I'm not telling you it's 90% likely. I'm saying it's 0% likely if we don't get them to a negotiating table. And the sooner everyone grows up around here and figures out that this is a bad war that's heading in a bad direction with death and destruction and all kinds of dangers surrounding it that could spiral into a broader conflict, the sooner people grow up and realize that, I think the more progress we're going to be able to make. But the president's crystal clear. He campaigned on it, and he's going to govern on it. And that is, he is going to be a president that tries to achieve peace, and he has been very clear this is a war that would have never happened had Donald Trump been in the White House, and it needs to end, and we're going to do everything we can to end it in an enduring and sustainable and fair way.
Dude, I like this Rubio. Just Rubio. Rubio 2.0 is much better than Rubio as a senator was just kind of like, but he's like on fire recently.
Oh my God, he is. He's hitting
I'm
it out of the park. Man, look at the people.
Secretary of State, man.
Look at this group. Every election cycle, you're always hoping for a dream team. Like, pull everyone together that's going to crush it. And that's exactly what we have. We have the dream team, everyone who's crushing it. Rubio hitting out of the park. He's so spot on. Everyone's pissed. And Trump has told everyone, steamroll it. Do what you got to do. Get it done, and don't put up with any of the BS. And that's exactly what happened. You think about Rubio delivered to Trump that he negotiated, right? That there was an outcome, that Zelensky agreed. There was a deal on the table. And then you get rug pulled right there in public on TV. It's like pissing everybody off and then talking over people and all these other things. Man, and then the media that doesn't even want to follow, the actual factual points, leading up to everything. They won't even acknowledge the reality of it. And that's been the travesty for all these years, that it's the misinformation campaign has been actively upon, coming from the media and from, the Democrat Party. They've been so good at packaging up the, falsehoods, and the media just keep at it. But they're a dying breed also. They're on their way out. Things are shifting. Now we need full transparency with the, look at that. Reborn John crushed it. Got it. Boom. Just like that. That's how we roll. It's so amazing.
Beautiful.
So happy that you got this bad boy.
So much fun to give these away, Jeff. I mean, it's so great to see the community in here. And, I love the drawing. I love to see people win. It's very exciting.
Yes.
And yet we don't own any, except the ones in our wallet that are all going away.
That we're giving away. We're giving away
everything. Man. Awesome. We don't have any.
I love it. Well, soon we're gonna roll out the we've got the
What are you doing there, Jeff?
The Australian ones. The Yowies. I couldn't. I don't know. I just blanked out on
the
word Yowies.
This is Jeff with co-host Jeff.
This is Jeff with co-host Jeff talking to Jeff. That's how I'm gonna introduce myself. If I'm gonna do a solo show.
Yeah.
Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff with co-host Jeff. Welcome.
Yeah, I'd be like, you see my imaginary friend sitting over there, right? Sure.
The Yowies. So the Yowies. We're excited.
Ray Musk in a while. Good afternoon from New Zealand. Very good afternoon, New Zealand. Jeff glitch. That happens, man. It's a little glitch. He needs an upgrade. Jeff 2.0. All right.
Getting my upgrade.
That's all we have, guys. That's all we have for you guys tonight. We will be back on Wednesday night. Saturday we will not be on this Saturday because we will be at the Quantum Summit. And Saturday morning we will hope to see some of you there. I know some of you are going to be there. So very exciting. And that's all I know. Anything before we get out of here, Jeff?
If that transfer of that Yeti would have been on a BTC network, Jeff Reborn John would not have received it while we're sitting here talking.
You have to hear on the next show.
We'd be talking about it on the next show, right? Exactly.
For sure, dude. For sure.
For sure. Carmichael
in the house. Carmichael. He comes and goes. Karma. Every time I see that, I think that Chip.
No, that's
Ow,
exactly
we're
what I
out.
think too.
We're gonna do the out. You ready, Jeff? I'm gonna say chip and chip out. How do you like that? Just to get back.
That's right.
Chip
You
and
can do
chip out.
Chip
Right
and,
now.
chip and chip out.
No, I will say it. Ready, Jeff and Chip. Oh.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.